Nā mihi nui e hoa mā, kei te whakarongo ai koutou ki te rongopai a ihu karaiti mai iti te pukapuka a hone. Greetings again, friends. It's Buckshot here from Wellington in New Zealand, bringing this reflection on the Gospel, which comes to us from John chapter 8, verses 31 to 42 today. There's quite a background, quite a context to the text, because for the last few days from Monday, the lectionary has had us reading from verse 1 of chapter 8. And that time, Jesus had arrived in Jerusalem for the Feast of Tabernacles. Interestingly enough, in chapter 7, his brothers had warned him against going up to Jerusalem for this feast because the Jews, referring to the leaders of the people in Jerusalem, were wanting to kill him. So his arrival at this feast is charged with passion and tension. When he arrives today, he's met by the scribes and the Pharisees who bring to him a woman who has been caught in adultery. But they didn't bring the man, funnily enough. They wanted to test him, to trap him. In this highly charged moment, Jesus is face to face with people who want to kill him and also this woman. How will he respond? How would I respond? This is not a friendly debate over a cup of coffee. Somehow he keeps his cool. He draws on the ground and offers anyone without sin the chance to throw a stone at this poor, hapless woman. Of course, the crowd disappears. It dissipates. They go away, including the Pharisees and the scribes too, caught out by their own sins, patriarchy, misogyny, and violence. And Jesus speaks with the woman when they are alone, assuring her that he too does not condemn her. You are free to go and sin no more. You are free to go and live life to the full. Later in the day, as the crowd regroups, the Pharisees challenge him about his authority. And Jesus engages in this debate and expresses his relationship to God as being a father-son relationship. Initially, some of the crowd believe him and accept what he is saying until he speaks of them being slaves to sin, when they respond that they are Abraham's children and not slaves to anybody. The scene with the woman caught in adultery shows that all of us, including me, no matter our religious descent, religious allegiance, or status, are caught up in a web of sin. Now, that is not sexual failure. It is a much greater moral failure to the core of our being that prevents us from choosing to be loving. Like the crowd and the leaders, we too are infected with a violence that spews out of us when we are cornered or challenged. Last week my son pushed my buttons, and an anger arose in me that I did not like. To the heart of this whole chapter is the difference between the way of Jesus to love, to show no condemnation and give the opportunity to change, with the obstinate commitment to power and control, and expressed in the desire to use violence to maintain that power, as the Jews, the leaders of the people, did in this text. You say you are Abraham's descendants, but you want to kill me. And also the woman earlier. How easy it is for us to be caught up into that easy and old way of using force to maintain control. Again, we're still in that season of Lent, following Jesus to that cross of submission, that cross of choosing to lay aside violence of any description and pick up the choice, make the choice to love. This is a hard thing, but once we see this truth, we can say along with the writer of our gospel today, John, that we have seen a new heaven, a new earth. The old ways have gone. God lives among us and wipes away every tear from our eyes. There will be no more death, no more mourning, sadness, or pain. Check out Revelation 21 to see when he says that. Once we see that that love is the way of Christ, we can turn from violence. We can choose not to be afraid of it when it comes our way. Jesus chose to love that woman and stand with her in her distress when there was immediate danger to him. The people wanted to kill him and had set a trap for him. This is powerful stuff. It's not a fairy tale in an old book, but this is the power to change everything in our world and our own hearts. May that love from God so flood us and flow into the world that violence and death is no more. May we be set free to love like Christ. Aranga Māria kia koutou katoa. Peace be with you all.